All right, welcome back. So in this video, I want to show you how to create a new page, hit the REST API a couple different ways, and yeah, we'll go from there. First, what we're going to do is the place in the sample application where I'm hitting the REST API, so the stuff that we built in Flask, is inside this API test file. All it does is simply uses the request library in Python, which I know some of you are familiar with from other classes, to access the API container. So since it's one container talking to another, we can use the internal names. We don't have to use the external names. We access it to get some data, and then we sort of package it up as JSON. Now, this isn't super exciting, so what I would like to do is add a call that would access the list of products from our Northwind application. So if we go to backend, we go to products, we'll see that there is a, let's see, where is it? Let's see, that's product. So the first route essentially gets all of the products from the database. It gets the ID, the product code, the product name, list price, and category from products. Okay, so that's already there. That's a sample. But, of course, you will write your own get routes. But in any event, so let's say this route is implemented and now I want to integrate it into my front end. So I'm going to add it to this page. And the way I'm going to do that is I'm going to comment out all of this, and I'm going to add some other code. So first what we need to do is get the data from the API. So I'm going to create a variable called products, and I'm going to access the REST API through the request library. So requests.get, and I'm going to go to http://API:4000/p/products. So remember that /p is because we have the URL prefix on the blueprint, the products blueprint. Okay, that's going to give me back some data, and just to make sure, it should come back in JSON, but I'm going to package it up. I'm going to just let's see. I'm going to extract the JSON from the request object. Well, actually, from the response object. Okay, so we're making the request. It's going to give us back some data, and we're going to extract the JSON from it and put it in products. Now, from a perspective of error testing, error handling, let's say there's something wrong or this data couldn't be returned. Well, you don't just want your application to die, so we might want to show the data if we can. Otherwise, we might want to display an error message. Okay, so we'll use exception handling. So try, and we will create the data frame. So let's see, st.dataframe, and we will choose products. Okay. Otherwise, we will simply write a message, could not connect to database to retrieve products. The products. Okay. All right. So we're going to save that. So now we have updated the API test code. And so how do we get to it? So we're going to go to our API. Let me close these tabs. We're going to go to our application. And remember that the API was for the US aid worker. Because remember, I labeled, if it starts with a 0, it's for the political strategy advisor. If it starts with a 1, it's for the USAID. And if it starts with a 2, it's for the administration system. Okay, so we're going to go to USAID worker, and the application, the page is under the simple API demo. So we're going to come here, and this is generating that kind of weird data again that we were dealing with in the system from before. So let's fix that. Okay, the way we fix it is we need to update the product's product route inside the product's blueprint to essentially only return the data, since we're getting back from the database everything in JSON. So we execute the cursor. We execute the query. We don't need this anymore. We don't need this. We get the data. And then we don't need this anymore. And we want to return. Now, I'm not creating an entire response object. I encourage you to do that, but I'm trying to be efficient. The data. So we save that. Let's check our Docker logs. Let's see, this is the API. So looks like things, let's see, we're set up okay. Yep, so it's the right time. So let's go to our UI, and we can go back home, and let's try it again. So Mohammed, simple API, and then here we have the data from our database. Now the columns are in a weird order, but that's okay. The idea is just to be able to get the data back. All right, so yeah, so we have the data. So let's go back to our code, and our API test is working. So this particular route, this is just an example of how to simply get information from the user. I'm sorry, from the API and display it to the user. Okay, so now we want to add a page, and we want to do, let's say, a post request. So in order to add a new page, we need to do a couple things. Now you have a bunch of pages here to sort of choose from, different examples, and you just need to know that if you add a page or modify any of these page names, then you'll need to update them in the nav.py folder. So, but I'm going to start from scratch, and I'm going to create a new file, and I want it to be part of the USAID worker also, so it'll be 14 underscore, let's see, new product. New product.py. Okay. Now, I know that new product's not really consistent with USAID worker, but this is to demo the structure of what to do here. Okay, so first thing I need to do is put in the sort of infrastructure for the page. And let me just grab that so you don't have to watch me type. So basically, I set up some logging stuff. I import Streamlit and requests. It's the Streamlit extras library that lets me add a logo, but that's taken care of now actually in the sidebar links, so you probably don't need that anymore. But in the event, and then we have our sidebar links. So all we're doing is we're displaying our sidebar, and then we're just writing a couple of things to the screen. So a big header that's more API access examples, and then a smaller header, level 2 header for creating a new product. So now that we have this page, make sure you save it. We're going to go to nav.py, and we need to make the navigation infrastructure aware of the new page. So I'm going to add it right under API test.nav for the USAID worker. So we'll do define new product nav. We will say st.sidebar. Let's see, sidebar.page link. And we are going to be linking to this 14. Okay, so we can mimic it, or we can model it off of the examples here. So pages /14 underscore new underscore product.py. Give it a label equals add a new product. And then we can give it an icon, and I'm just going to steal one that's already being used. Let's see, I'll steal the computer. Okay, so we have our new product function. So let's see. Now we want to add it to the US aid worker. So say we want to add it to right under the API test. So oh Lord, I already forgot what I called it. The function is new product nav. So I'm just going to copy it this page. New product nav. So new product nav. So there you go. So now we have that. And the other place we need to add it is to the home page for the US aid worker. So nav only adds it to the left-hand panel, but we also need to add it here. So I'll add it in the same way I did, in the same order as I did for the navigation panel. So I'm going to just use this as a template, and we'll say add a new product. We'll say use container with, yes, this is 14, page 14, new underscore product .py. Okay, so we've added our infrastructure for our new page. Let's go and check out the project in the browser. Okay, so one thing to note, if you are updating the pages for the Streamlit application, whenever you save it, the Streamlit app will essentially be notified about the changes, but it won't necessarily run them. You may see up here something that says like always rerun, etc. I'm going to choose always rerun, and so this is showing that there's an error, which we'll get to, no problem. But I'm going to go back to my main page. So let's see, 8501. So act as Mohammed, and there's a problem. Can't find the page. So let's figure out how to debug this. Okay, well, looking in the Docker logs for the Streamlit application, we'll notice we're getting essentially the same information, that it can't find the new page we created. And the way we're going to solve that is we're just going to simply reload the front end container, or restart the application by choosing the reload button here. So let's reload, and then let's go back to our browser, and we'll go, we're back at home. We're going to choose Mohammed, and now we see our new page, no problem there. And we have our two headings. Now, we haven't done anything with it, but we have our two headings. I believe this is because whenever you're adding a new page, Streamlit doesn't know about the new page. It only tracks essentially the code updates to the pages that exist. So you have to reload the application to get Streamlit to know about the new page, the 14 underscore new product. Okay, so back to code. We need to let's hit the API to post some information, meaning we want to create a new product. When we're creating data, we're using the post HTTP verb, updating is put, and so on. Okay, so what we're going to do in order to what we're going to use to create this opportunity for the user to input data is we need to use a form, and Streamlit supports forms. If you've done any web dev, you know about forms, or if you've used the internet, you know about filling out forms. So what we're going to do is we're going to create the form this way. So with st.form, and we'll give the form a name, so we'll just call it create a new product. Okay. Now, in order to handle the creation of the new product, we're going to need to send information from the UI, so from the Streamlit app, through to the REST API. So we need to know what information the REST API needs. So we can come to products, and we want to look for our post product, so our creating a new product. Now, of course, you need this function to be created before you can handle it in the front end. But the data that we need to create a new product is name, description, price, and category. So we're going to go back to our new product page, and we need to create different UI elements for those 4 pieces of information. So we'll do, let's say, prod name. Nothing special about these variable names. st.textInput, input new products name. And the text input is basically just a text field where you can type some text, a string, and it will be returned into product name. And then we need description, category, and price also. So you don't have to watch me type. I'm going to speed this up a little bit. Let's see, what does it not like there? Oh, I think it's because it's a tab, not a space. So I have a text area, which is, sort of where you can type a paragraph for the product description. I have another text input for category, and then I have a number input for the list price. Those are the 4 pieces of information that I must have to send to the route, the post route in the REST API. Then we need a submit button. So we'll say submitted equals st.form submit button. We'll call it submit. Okay. And then we'll handle when it's submitted. So if submitted, what we need to do is we need to package these values up into JSON that we can send to the REST API. Let's see. I don't like those squigglies. Let's see. We'll get rid of them soon. So we're gonna create the data, and we're just going to create an empty dictionary. And then we're going to take each of these and package them up into a key value pair. The key of the key value pairs needs to be the same as these values right here, because you can see we're then accessing, once we get to the REST API, we're accessing those values based on the key name. So we'll have, let's see, data sub product name equals prod name. Data sub product description equals product description. And then I'm going to copy the others. Copy and paste the others. Okay, so just so you can use it for debugging, or for debugging, temporarily you could just display what your data dictionary looks like. So let's just say st.write data. And then comes the fun. Now we need to get ready to call the post request for our API. So we're going to say requests.post. So now we're making a post request, not a get request. And we're going to post to http://api:4000/p/product. Okay. And then the data that we're sending to the API, we're going to send as JSON. So we're going to say JSON equals data. And there you have it. So let's just kind of double check over everything here. We have a way to input our different values. And in terms of the application, if you're wondering what sorts of UI elements you can use, there's quite a bit. So there's, let's see, input widgets. There's buttons, download button, feedback. That's the form button we just used. There's checkboxes. You can have a color picker, radio buttons. This is like a drop-down box like this. There's sliders, which effectively are like this. That's in one of the examples. There's toggle switches, like that. Different inputs, date time inputs. This will give you essentially a calendar view if you need to input a date time. Text area, text input. You can even get input from the camera if you want to take a picture or something, and support file uploading. Okay, so lots of options. All right, so let's come back. We're gonna always rerun. When we do that, here we get our new product access page. So let's just see what happened. Let's see if we connected everything up correctly. So I'm going to put new product name. We'll say, since this is Northwind, we'll say, I don't know, salted butter. The best salted butter in the world. We'll say it's in the butter category. And we'll say this is $14.95. Okay, and then I'm going to hit submit, and this is the JSON that I created from the values. I don't see any errors, so maybe that means that everything worked okay with the submission. But how could we determine? Meaning, when I say everything worked okay with the submission, meaning it went to the API, and hopefully everything worked okay. So let's first check the logs for the API container. So I'm going to come back here. I'm going to go to Web API. And you'll notice that here's the information that I sent it. Seems that's okay. Then I construct an insert statement and log it just so I can double check it. So there's my insert statement. Looks like everything went okay. So what we're going to do is we are going to double check that that the new product, salted butter, is inside the database. So we can do that by going to data grip. I have this super simple query here, select star from products, and I'm ordering it by ID because that's an auto increment field descending. So the newest thing should be on top. So we're going to double check it. And there's our salted butter. And so now you know how to create a new page, how to add it to the navigation, and how to access a post request from the API. Yep. So let me know what else you need to see, and I can make more videos.